Talofa lava, kia ora na tātou katoa toa, ma loa lelei, halo keta, whakalofa lahi atu. Ni Sambula Vanaka, and welcome to Aotearoa, New Zealand's Waipapa Taumata Rau. We are very privileged today to be joined by four prominent and successful members of Parliament. Shannon, Brooke, Chloe and Simeon, thank you for returning to your alma mater today.
This city is going backwards under this government and needs change. National will get Auckland back on track by delivering the infrastructure we need so this city can get back on track.
But we all know that for many, many years and decades, we've been impacted by congestion in the city in Tāmaki Makaurau, and that's exactly why our government has invested in a lined-up, integrated transport network from one end of Auckland to the other.
We have the people, we have the talent, we have the capacity for innovation, but we have not made the decisions over the past few decades that have enabled those things to flourish. That is why I am super proud of the fact that we continue to advocate for evidence-based policies for people and planet, and I'm looking forward to getting into it.
Everywhere in our society is a feeling of anxiousness and hopelessness because our country is going backwards. We've got to rebalance crime and law and order so our streets are safe again.
So the first thing that we have to do is investigate how we're building this city. And we have to be honest with ourselves as a country. Are we willing to pay for that? It means looking at sponge cities. And again, there's examples of this stuff overseas. And here in Tāmaki Makaurau, half of our emissions profile comes from transport. So what we need is evidence-based policy. It's great for everybody and it builds community. That in turn is also a massive co-benefit for reducing crime.
We do need better infrastructure investment, and I think the flooding earlier this year made it really apparent how poor our Auckland infrastructure is. We can't be world leaders and make ourselves economically vulnerable. It's just not a sustainable position.
Suddenly you can pay for all of the infrastructure that you want and that you can mitigate and adapt, but you don't have a plan to actually pay for it. So you can have all these dreams. It ain't going to work if you don't have a productive economy where people can get a job and actually get ahead, pay tax and contribute to that.
The thing is, National wants all the infrastructure in the world, right? They don't have a plan to pay for it. And under their tax cut scheme, they won't be able to pay for the infrastructure that our city requires. They've got no plan in place. Auckland Council has enabled council to get out a locally led response to categorise the needs of every single impacted household in Auckland's post-flood.
Well, first and foremost, we're committed to the emissions trading scheme, which prices and caps emissions in the economy and ultimately will be the biggest driver for change to reduce emissions in New Zealand. In New Zealand, it takes an average of 8 years to get a consent to build a wind farm. It only takes 2 years to build it, 8 years to consent it. We're never going to become 100% renewable energy or even close if those rules and regulations aren't dealt with. That's the reality. Your bold leadership said it would be done to Mount Roskill by 2021. It hasn't even left the first station.
That compares to your plan that doesn't have a plan.
Well, we started City Rail.
Thank you.
That's the answer. It's reallocate road space, look at the rapid transit network. We are looking at moving people around our city, and if that is our primary focus, then we can't solely focus on the means of cars.
One way I think would work is to actually price roads correctly. Remove the fuel tax and add congestion charging so that people actually have real accurate times for the cost of the road. We do have to invest in more roads if we want more free-flowing traffic. And the way that we get safer, more efficient roads built is allowing for infrastructure companies to come in, build roads, and for us to toll them over time.
Our transport plan made it very clear we do need to invest in rapid transit. We also need to invest in roads because we have a growing population. So we agree with the ACT Party around the need for congestion charging. The government's bill on that was a bit of a dog.
You walked away
it was a
from
bit of a dog.
congestion charging.
We never actually got a final copy
anyway.
anyway.
From it.
We never got a final copy, and then your minister changed 3 times. So it's a bit hard to keep up with you guys.
So you're supporting congestion pricing now?
Well, it's in our policy.
Was it that close? If you'd just been given a copy,
we wrote. So I've learned something at least from you today around the issues. But
you always do in our select committee.
But the point is, don't blame us. because you've had 3 ministers of transport in 3 months.
No, you keep on walking away from critical things. Water infrastructure, congestion pricing.
we haven't
what
walked
was
away.
the other?
Housing.
Housing.
We haven't walked away.
You keep walking away.
So
Were you involved in starting pro-life on campus?
I was.
Yeah, so I remember that there was the Barney, where AUSA, which at that point, Arena Williams, who's current Labour MP, wanted to disaffiliate pro-life on campus, started by Simeon Brown, and I was at BFM reporting on it.
oh gosh.